You're listening to R&J's Classic Mix. Welcome to Friday Night Boogie, Part 2. I'm Rockin' Randy, and with me tonight is...
the amazing Moondog.
And other special guests will be popping in through the night. We want to thank you all of the listeners that have tuned in so far. We start off the set with a band that John's going to tell you a little more about tonight. That's in the spotlight on the mix.
Yeah, we're starting a new feature tonight. It's going to be a band spotlight. We're going to try this out and see how things go. And tonight's band is Slade. And that was who you just heard up first tonight with their first number one hit from 1971, 'Cause I Love You. And we're going to be hearing a lot more from Slade later tonight. We're going to give you some more info on them. A really classic band that a lot of you might be familiar with and you might not be. So what do we got up next, Randy?
Okay, thank you. The amazing Moondog. Okay, we're going to start this night off with some dancing, but dancing you may not recognize or remember. That's what it's all about on the Classic Mix.
You're listening to R&J's Classic Mix, your musical time machine. Where we're going, we don't need a DeLorean.
All right, that was Slade with Mama, We're All Crazy Now, and Slade is our spotlight band tonight. They were a band that rose to fame in England in the early 70s during the British glam rock era. That's a genre of music that includes, among others, bands like T-Rex, Roxy Music, Ziggy Stardust, a.k.a. David Bowie, Lou Reed, Iggy Pop, and, of course, Slade. And if you're not familiar with them, you might be surprised to know they actually had more number one hits at that time than all those other bands I just mentioned. And before that, we heard the birthday song by the Beatles. Now, another interesting fact about Slade is they're the only band, they're right behind the Beatles. The Beatles actually had 22 hits in one decade, and that's in just the 1960s, not including the stuff from the 70s. But in the years of the 1970s, Slade had 17 number one hits. And they're mostly unknown nowadays, but that's part of the reason why we're doing the spotlight tonight. What do we got next, Randy?
Thank you. Good job, Moondog. I didn't know that about the Beatles. That was great. 17, that's pretty good. Okay. Thank you for tuning in, listeners, and we're going to keep the music going. There's a little Adelaide rolling in the deep on R&J's Classic Mix. And now, with the latest in news and weather, here's Norman Herman and Dr. Strangelove, only on the mix.
Good evening, this is Norman Herman reporting. A teenage girl in Kent, England had to be rescued by firefighters when she got stuck in a drain pipe while trying to retrieve her lost BlackBerry. Despite the firefighters and pictures of 16-year-old Ella Bertrow struggling waist-deep in the pipe, she said it wasn't as bad as it looked. Any hopes that a lobster abandoned in a St. Catherine's parking lot might be returned to the ocean were snuffed out yesterday morning. Sad news, Mickey the lobster has died. He died in peace and quiet, but had 3 offers to be flown out east. Thanks for all the well wishes, said the Lincoln County Humane Society. Hollywood and the world are mourning the loss of veteran comedian Harvey Korman. Korman is best known for the years of brilliant work he did on The Carol Burnett Show. This reporter's favorite Korman performance was as the Great Gazoo on The Flintstones. I'm Norman Herman. Thanks for listening, and stay classy.
Greetings and good evening. This is Dr. Strangelove, R&J's Classic Mix meteorologist. Alright, starting with our friends in the west for tomorrow. In BC, Victoria should be showing a lovely 11 degrees Celsius, Vancouver at 10 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy conditions there. In Edmonton, it shall be 5 degrees. Calgary will be nice at 8 degrees, also partly cloudy. Moving over to Saskatoon and Regina, there will be Saskatoon has 1 degree. Regina still a little chilly at 0, but it's positive nonetheless with a mix of sun and rain. Here in southeastern Ontario, for Ottawa and the region, here in beautiful Kingston, we shall be 2 degrees Celsius. Just a bit nippy, but sunny with a chance of showers. The East Coast is looking much, much better. Fredericton, 8 degrees Celsius. Halifax, 5 degrees Celsius and partly cloudy. So, you people have been given so much bad luck over this winter. Maybe this is the end of all of the chilly and mucky muck on the East Coast. And, well, that's it for now. Thank you very much for listening.
You're listening to R&J's Classic Mix with DJ Rockin' Randy.
Rockin' Randy.
Amazing Muda. Tune into all your faves at skagsy.casters.fm.
Hey. You're listening to R&J's Classic Mix. These boys play a little bit of everything. But you're not gonna hear the rap music. None of that hippin' and a hoppin' and a bippin' and a boppin'.
Alright, you're listening to R&J's Classic Mix. It's Friday Night Boogie. Rockin' Randy is your pilot. I'm your co-pilot, the Amazing Moondog. And that was Home by Philip Phillips. Up next, we're going back to our Spotlight band tonight. That band is Slade. And we're going to play a song that some of you may have heard before, but you might not be familiar with this version. You might be more familiar with the remake that was done by Quiet Riot in 1983. But what we're going to play next is the original version from 10 years earlier. This is Slade's #1 hit from 1973. Come on, feel the noise.
It's Friday night and the weekend's here. Welcome to R&J's Classic Mix with Rockin' Randy and the Amazing Moondog. You're listening to R&J's Classic Mix. That's the Tremolos. Here goes my baby. Earlier, going with our philosophy of philosophizing with Floyd. Every time we play a Pink Floyd song or a Brit Floyd song, we request that you give us a question and we can try to philosophize with. And we did have one come in from Floyd himself. And he's always been curious. Can vegetarians eat animal crackers? Okay, Amazing Moondog, I need some help on this one.
It depends. Is there, like, animal products inside the animal crackers? Or is it just, are they just starch and gluten and sugar and flavor and vanilla maybe, and the shape of animals? Yeah. Does that make it okay to eat them? Or?
That's right. Is there any meat byproducts in the animal crackers? Or is that pretty well animal-free? And gluten, is it gluten-free?
You know all this gluten-free things they're talking about? Ever had gluten-free food? What do you think?
Food needs gluten.
I agree.
Okay, we won't take credit for that, Seth. By yet. But that's pretty cool. Anyway, listen, you're listening to R&J's Classic Mix, and we want to thank you for tuning in. And as far as can vegetarian eat animal crackers, maybe a veggie person out there can chat and let us know. Okay, we can take from there. But anyway, we digress. You're listening to R&J's Classic Mix. We're going to keep up with the tunes. A little bit of Lou Reed for you. All I need is a miracle. Don't we all? That's Mike and Mechanics. You listen to R&J's Classic Mix with Rockin' Randy and the Amazing Moondog. Just going to catch up on some sports for you. We'll take a look at some NHL action tonight. Montreal stymied Ottawa's chances of making the playoffs with a 7-4 victory. Elsewhere was New Jersey over Washington 2-1. Chicago down Colorado 4-3. It was Detroit over Buffalo 3-2. The Calgary Flames continued their hot ways. They won their second row. They beat the LA Kings 2-1 in LA. And currently in the third period, might be into overtime now. It's Edmonton and Phoenix tied at 1. And the New York Yankees spoiled the Blue Jays' debut today. Home opener, I should say, debut. Roy Halladay threw out the honorable pitch. You remember Roy Halladay. Anyway, the Yankees down the Jays 7-3. You're listening to R&J's Classic Mix, and I'm going to turn it over to
Moondog here. Alright, so we're now approaching the midnight hour, which we're turning from April 4th, 5th. Yeah, that's right, April the 5th. And it was 20 years ago today that we lost a very fantastic musician by the name of Kurt Cobain. And we're not going to go into all the controversy or conspiracy theories surrounding the man's life and his death. We're not about that here at R&J's Classic Mix. We're all about the music. So I just want to say, Kurt, we miss you, and thank you so much for sharing what you had with us when you were here.